Her dream was simple: to meet Clint Eastwood. But what unfolded that night would ripple far beyond the grand ballroom of the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, leaving a legacy of inspiration. This isn't just a story about a Hollywood legend or a brave young girl. It's about the transformative power of human connection, compassion, and the fleeting, unforgettable moments that change us forever. Set against the backdrop of a star-studded charity gala, this tale is woven with hope, heartbreak, and profound humanity. Alana, a 12-year-old girl battling leukemia, carried a singular wish in her heart: to meet the man whose movies had been her lifeline through endless hospital stays. Clint Eastwood, a towering figure in Hollywood, known for his grit and stoicism, was unprepared for how this encounter would change him forever. But to understand the magnitude of that night, we must start from the beginning. Clint Eastwood was no stranger to admiration. Born during the Great Depression, he had grown up in an era where resilience was not a choice, but a necessity. His rise to fame had been anything but overnight, working as a lifeguard, piano player, and even a steelworker before stepping into the world of acting. By the time Clint achieved fame, his rugged charm and no-nonsense demeanor had already become his signature. Yet beneath the grizzled exterior lay a man of quiet depth, a thinker, a dreamer, and a lover of the simple life. At 94, Clint had long since retired from the spotlight of celebrity events, preferring the peace of his Carmel-by-the-Sea home. He spent his days with his family crafting his next directorial masterpiece and reflecting on a career that spanned over 7 decades. He hadn't intended to attend the gala that evening. Clint avoided public events, feeling he had little left to prove or share with the world. But when the invitation arrived emphasizing the cause, supporting children battling life-threatening illnesses, he had reconsidered. Fame, he believed, should always be used for good. He had no idea that the decision to attend would leave an indelible mark on his heart. Alana Mayfield had spent more time in hospitals than playgrounds. Diagnosed with leukemia at just 10 years old, her life became a routine of chemotherapy sessions, bone marrow tests, and hours of staring at white hospital ceilings. Yet, if you asked her, she'd tell you she wasn't scared. "Why waste time being scared?" she'd often say to her mother, Laura. "I could be drawing or watching a movie instead." Alana's love of movies began with her dad. Her father, Daniel, was a devoted fan of Clint Eastwood. Friday nights had been their tradition: homemade popcorn, fuzzy blankets, and a Clint Eastwood film on the screen. Whether it was the dusty landscapes of the good, the bad, and the ugly, or the poignant storytelling of Gran Torino, those movies became their shared language. When Daniel passed away in a car accident 2 years earlier, Alana found solace in those same movies. They were her way of keeping his memory alive, a reminder of his humor, his strength, and the lessons he'd taught her about resilience. When Laura learned Clint Eastwood would be the guest of honor at a charity gala, she knew she had to make Alana's dream come true. Time was slipping through her fingers, and this might be the only chance to fulfill her daughter's wish. The Beverly Wilshire Hotel glimmered that evening, its grand ballroom transformed into a haven of elegance. Chandeliers sparkled like constellations overhead, while the soft hum of conversation filled the air. Attendees, celebrities, philanthropists, and families mingled in their finest attire, their laughter and murmurs weaving a tapestry of anticipation. At a table near the far end of the room, Alana sat with her mother. Her pale blue dress hung delicately from her small frame, its color complementing the brightness of her eyes. Her energy was low, but her excitement was unmistakable. She had one goal that night: to meet Clint Eastwood. "Do you think he'll notice me?" Alana whispered, her hands nervously clasped together. Her mother, Laura, smiled gently. "He will. Just wait for the right moment." Across the room, Clint Eastwood entered quietly, dressed in a classic black suit. He avoided the spotlight, blending into the crowd as best he could. His sharp eyes scanned the room, taking in the families, the children, and the stories etched on their faces. But one set of eyes stood out to him. When Clint's gaze landed on Alana, her wide, hopeful eyes locked onto his. She froze for a moment, clutching the edge of her chair as if grounding herself. Clint, noticing her nervousness, offered a small, reassuring nod. Laura leaned down and whispered, "Now's your chance, sweetheart." Alana hesitated before standing, her legs shaky but determined. As Clint approached, her mother stepped forward. "Mr. Eastwood," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "This is my daughter, Alana. She's been hoping to meet you all evening." Clint crouched slightly to meet Alana's gaze, his expression softening into a kind smile. "Well, hello there," he said, his voice warm and gravelly. "I hear you've been looking for me." Alana nodded, her face lighting up. "I have. I just wanted to tell you how much I love your movies. My dad and I used to watch them all the time." The mention of her father made Clint pause. His brows furrowed slightly, and he glanced at Laura, who nodded with a somber expression. Alana continued, "He's not here anymore, but when we watched your movies, it felt like we were in another world. Just us." Clint stayed silent for a moment, his piercing eyes studying the girl before him. Then his voice softened. "Sounds like you and your dad had something pretty special. I'm honored to have been part of that." Clint pulled up a chair beside Alana, an unexpected gesture that drew the attention of nearby guests. But he didn't care about the eyes on him. His focus was solely on the young girl at his side. "So," Clint began, leaning in slightly, "what's your favorite? Out of all my movies, which one did you and your dad watch the most?" Alana smiled, fiddling with the hem of her dress. "Gran Torino. Dad said you reminded him of my grandpa. Tough on the outside, but with a big heart." Clint chuckled softly. "That's quite the compliment. Your dad must have been a good man." "He was," Alana said, her voice tinged with pride and sorrow. "He always told me that no matter how hard things got, there was always a way to make them better. That's why he liked your movies. They showed people standing up for what's right." The conversation flowed effortlessly, as if they'd known each other for years. Clint shared stories from his career, recounting behind-the-scenes moments and the lessons he'd learned along the way. For the first time in what felt like forever, Alana wasn't thinking about hospitals or treatments. She was just a kid, talking to her hero. As the night wore on, Laura signaled that it was time to leave. Alana's energy was waning and her body needed rest. Before they left, Alana turned to Clint. "Can I ask you one more thing?" "Anything," Clint replied. Can I, can I have a hug?" Clint's expression softened. He stood and opened his arms, stooping slightly as Alana stepped forward. She buried her face in his shoulder, her thin arms clinging to him with surprising strength. The embrace wasn't just a hug. It was a moment of connection, of understanding, of shared humanity. The room seemed to quiet, as if everyone present recognized the gravity of what was unfolding. "You're a brave one, Alana," Clint murmured. "The world's lucky to have you." The next morning, Clint received news that would stay with him forever. Alana had passed away peacefully in her sleep, with a smile on her face. Her story spread like wildfire, touching hearts around the world. The image of Clint hugging Alana became a symbol of hope, reminding people of the profound impact of even the simplest acts of kindness. For Clint, the experience became a mirror, reflecting the legacy he wanted to leave, not just as an actor, but as a human being. And for the rest of us, it was a lesson that life is fleeting, but love and compassion endure. Clint Eastwood was deeply affected by Alana's passing. Her courage and gratitude lingered in his thoughts, reshaping the way he viewed his own life and the legacy he hoped to leave. Despite his age, he realized there was still much to contribute, not through fame or awards, but through humanity. In the weeks following the gala, Clint reached out to Alana's mother, Laura. Their conversation was heartfelt as Laura shared stories of Alana's unwavering positivity, even in the darkest moments. Clint was moved and decided to honor Alana's memory in a way that would bring hope to other children like her. Months later, Clint announced the creation of the Alana Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to supporting children battling life-threatening illnesses and their families. Its mission was simple: to provide comfort, create joyful moments, and ensure no child felt forgotten in their fight. The foundation was more than a charity. It became a movement. With Clint's name attached, donors poured in from all over the world. The organization funded hospital art programs, movie nights, and even trips to film sets for kids who shared Alana's love of movies. Clint also became personally involved, surprising children at hospitals with visits and sharing stories of his career. He would sit beside their bedsides just as he had with Alana, listening to their dreams and fears. But it wasn't just about Clint. Alana's story inspired countless others to step up, from nurses organizing special events to filmmakers offering private screenings for young patients. Her legacy became a reminder of the impact one small life can have on the world. In his 95th year, Clint announced what he called his final directorial project, a film inspired by Alana. Titled Unbreakable, the movie told the story of a young girl's journey through illness, her unyielding spirit, and the lives she touched along the way. The film wasn't just another production for Clint, it was his love letter to Alana and the countless children like her who faced unimaginable challenges with courage. He poured his heart into every frame, ensuring it captured the essence of her spirit. When Unbreakable premiered, it was met with universal acclaim. Critics praised its raw emotion and authenticity, while audiences left theaters in tears, their hearts full. The film's success raised millions for the Alana Foundation, further cementing her legacy. Sitting on the porch of his Carmel home one quiet evening, Clint reflected on his life. He had achieved more than he'd ever dreamed: awards, fame, and a career that spanned generations. But none of it compared to the simple moments of connection, like the one he'd shared with Alana. He thought of her often, especially on nights like this, when the sky was painted with stars. To him, Alana wasn't just a little girl he'd met at a gala. She was a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even the smallest acts of kindness could ripple outward and change lives. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Clint whispered to the wind, "Thank you, kid. You made this old cowboy's life mean something." The Alana Foundation continues to thrive, touching lives across the globe. Hospitals are brighter places, children's dreams are nurtured, and families find comfort in the hardest times. And though Clint Eastwood eventually passed on, his final years were filled with purpose, driven by the memory of a brave little girl with sparkling eyes and a love for his movies. To this day, Alana's story lives on, proof that no matter how short a life may be, its impact can echo forever. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more heartfelt, inspiring, and captivating tales, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tailcraft. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Your support helps us share stories that matter.